everyone. Okay, so it is Monday night through the eyes of authors, and today we have the illustrator panel, which Mendo, me, and Sandy are super excited about. Fern's not feeling good, she couldn't be here, but Rosa is on, and
We're not
Christine.
illustrators, though. We're not illustrators. We're just
No,
excited that we're having illustrators.
Yeah, we're having illustrators. Sorry, panel on. You guys, it's been a really long day. If you saw author talk this morning or my live, you guys understand that my kids right now are the spawns of Satan. So that side note for that, you'll probably hear her bang on the door here in a little bit. But Rose is on, Christina's trying to pop in and on, so we're gonna have them, but they are illustrators. And so Rosa, why don't you give us some background information about you until Christina comes on? I'll kick it to her, and then we'll open the floor for questions.
And remember, we want some time to talk about all that's going on with all the Christmas and Cyber Monday and Giving Tuesday and all of that.
Let's do that now. So Sandy, it's kicked over to you.
Oh, okay. Well, just don't forget we need time to talk about that because we have a lot going on right now. So, how many of you are familiar with we're doing the 12 days of Christmas? Everybody know what that's all about, right? Starts tomorrow. Okay, you guys, tomorrow. And starting tomorrow for 12 days of Christmas, we are going Facebook Live every night at 6 o'clock. So we can talk about all the books. So you want to be on and talk about your book, then all you have to do is join us. We'll be sending out emails to all of you as well. We will be, and we're sending out an email called the 12 Days of Christmas, starting tomorrow. If you want to have your book in, Diane, I sent you a message today. Did you, I need to get your book cover or one of a book cover or a series, whatever you want in there. I have Julie, I talked to you and had a great call with Julie today. That was so, thank you, Diane, for introducing us. And can't wait to hear more about your books. And Julie, since we're talking illustrators tonight, who does the illustrations for your books? Grant. Oh
That's
my God,
me.
Grant, that is awesome.
I do stick figures.
So when we start talking to the illustrators, Grant, remember, this is all about illustrators tonight, so we want you to chime in, okay? But starting tomorrow, I've already got it ready to go for the first night. The first night will be, the books that'll be on day one will be our clients, people that are actually our one-on-one insider circle, whatever you want to call them, clients. They get day one all by themselves. Day two is everybody that is a member of the group. So if you're like a paying member of the group, then you get day two. And then after that, day three comes anybody that wants to be in there. You just have to let me know and have to send me a copy of your book cover. So we have David Fallour, who is was a one-time client. We did his book launch, so he'll be on day three on. So all of you, if you know someone, so here's how this is going to look. The email will have the picture of the book. Amy did a great job doing the design. I'm doing the research and putting it in a little Christmassy looking picture. And so we're putting the picture in there, and then a little description of the book, and then a link to your book on Amazon or your website. So if you, so Grant, you want to send them to your website, we'll do that instead of sending them over to Amazon, because you have an amazing website. I looked at it this afternoon and looked at all the great books and all the things that Grant's doing. And congratulations to them. They are going to be, I'll let you tell later some of the interviews you guys are having right now. And one of the things they have is they're being interviewed for the Houston Chronicle. Let me tell you, that's nothing less than a miracle, because I have sent everything we do to the Houston Chronicle, and I can tell you, they don't call me for an interview or anything. And I actually just sent out the one for You Healing You, our newest book. Sent that to the Chronicle and all the other places in Houston. Went out today for Cyber Monday. So any questions before we start with the illustrators? Any questions on 12 Days of Christmas?
Are you doing any giveaways?
Any giveaways? Well, that's going to be up to you.
Okay.
Because I'm going to send out the email that's going to have a link to you. And if you want to give away something from there, then so when I send them to Rock Hill Publishing, they have their bundles right now going on. They have their ebooks are 99 cents. So yes, they'll find that out, but they're going to find that out on the website.
Okay.
Or on Facebook or on Amazon if it's going to be. Now, if you want me to put a little blurb about that in the email that goes out, you have a whole blurb about the book and I can put that in there. If you have any special requests that, okay, send it here. Jeremy, if you have a special page for them to go to, Amy, we can check with Roxanne and see if they want to go to their Kickstarter page or something, we can do that. So we'll put the link in there where you want them to go. Yes, Jeremy.
Yeah, it's just the website, Successor Games. That's perfect. And so fun fact, it's a cool announcement, fun fact. I got everything's finalized, and the introduction to Planet Bound, which is the 100-page freebie that comes out before book one, publishes tonight. So I'd love to for Giving Tuesday tomorrow, because it's a freebie, right? Or the digital copy is a freebie. And so, yeah, so yay for Giving Tuesday tomorrow. That's why I planned it this way. So I would love to be on there tomorrow night and talk about it. Oh,
yay. So tomorrow night, I don't know, Amy, what link do we want to use tomorrow night? We want to use this one, or we want to use our personal one that we use?
The personal link.
Yeah, that'd be easier if we don't have to learn. We don't want to have any new links for tomorrow night, because anytime we have a new link, somebody doesn't get the message or something happens, and then we go into chaos right around 6 o'clock. So remember, it's 6 o'clock Central Time.
Will you send out the link, Amy, for everybody?
We are going to send out an email every day.
Awesome. Oh, great.
Remember,
awesome.
We're sending out the 12 Days of Christmas. So when that goes out, it will have the link to join us.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I just want to say, so the I am so proud of this. Like, I am ungodly proud of this. I am fucking proud of this. I'm going to cuss on this. I don't care. I'm so fucking proud of this. It's amazing. Can't wait for you guys to download it and see. It's beautiful. It's just beautiful as I imagined it to be. I'm so very, very happy.
I can't wait for you, Jeremy. I am so, I'm not going to say the word you said, but I am so proud of you. Yay.
So it's a lot of pride. And everybody that has done the previews for it is just like, I had no idea this is what it was going to be, Jer. I did.
You've seen that since you were in elementary school.
Thank
Julie, your Kickstarter is over, right?
Tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning?
Yes, but I've met my goal. Whatever.
I am so excited for all of you that are just stepping out and doing this, because it can be scary. It can be a lot of things, but it's just, I'm so proud of you. And if those of you that are not familiar with Kickstarter, we can have somebody talk about it later. Amy, let's go on over and get with the illustrators now and make sure we have plenty of time for them. But before we go, any questions on the 12 Days of Christmas? So tomorrow night, 6 o'clock, right here, all of you are invited. You can be on one night, 5 nights, or all 12 nights. You're all invited to be on every night. And so thanks to James and the authors from Rock Hill, when we did the Miami Book Fair on November 15th to 22nd, and it was James's idea, or was it Athena's idea? I want to make sure I get the right.
Either one, it doesn't
I
matter.
know, I'm teasing you. I know it would be. So they had the idea, let's be on every night that they were live, and they had a live booth in the virtual booth in the Miami Book Fair. So they're like, let's be on every night for Facebook Live. And we did. So for 8 nights, and we had a blast. It was great getting to know all of them. It was great to get to hear them read and to hear what a voice that David Daylog has. It's amazing. So I love all you guys. We had a great time during that 8 nights. So we're like, we want to do something similar for the 12 days of Christmas. So starting tomorrow, December 1st through December 12th, 12 days. So, okay, Amy, I'm gonna turn it over to you for the illustrators to introduce them or introduce whoever you're introducing.
Okay, well, so our 2 illustrators that are on are Christina Kindred and Rosa. So whoever wants to go first, raise your hand, or I'm just going to randomly pick one of y'all. One of y'all have to go first. And so give us some background information, kind of like what your strengths are, and then I'm going to open the floor to questions after whichever one you goes first and the second one, and then we're going to open the floor to questions and stuff like that. So who wants to go? All right, Christina, you're first because you're
Gonna say go Rosa.
you were unmuted and she was muted, so
Hi, my name is Christina Kindred. I'm here for Dragadillo, which was my first venture into illustrations. I do have a background in art and writing, actually more writing, but I am super excited to be here. What else? I'm better with questions. Ask me questions.
And she writes, she is the illustrator for her husband's book. So Julie Grant is Julie's son, not her husband. But the fact that you 2 work together, Julie's the writer, Grant is the artist, with Christina and Julian. Julian wrote the book and Christina did the illustrations. Although Christina, we'll have you in a little bit talk about the fact that you didn't know how to draw dragons. And the book is called Dragadillo, which is a combination of dragon and armadillo. Rosa, introduce yourself, please.
So I'm Rosa. Hi. I work with Inklings. I'm the illustrator for Landon's Library, their first graphic novel. I'm also working on my own graphic novel called Aztec Rising. And I also do children's book illustrations with Natrix from Swipe Publications on his Peanut Butter and Jam series. So a lot of projects.
Yeah, and I love the Peanut Butter and Jam series. We love that author. We met him last year. Amy, what was that called where we met him last year?
we met him at NerdCon.
NerdCon, yes. I knew it was, yes. So loved him and loved his books and Peanut Butter and Jam. I thought that was a cute thing. So Amy, you want to ask the questions? Or do you need me to? You need to take care of any little ones?
No, my husband's just bothering me because his brother Joel is on. And so he's just like bothering me because Joel's on. So
Okay, and so Joel, are you the one that's the author? That I guess he's what it showed you his book, Amy, is that right?
So everyone, Joel is my brother-in-law. And he's also written his first book. And so he's in the process of figuring out what to do next. He's also the Aggie in my family. So I give him a lot of crap for being an Aggie. But yeah, so he's here tonight to just kind of fill it out and learn what, is his next part in this author journey that he's on. So we're super excited to have Joel.
Yeah. Well,
But no,
hi,
I
everyone.
can ask questions. I was going to open the floor to whoever, has questions and things like that. But I guess one off the top of my head is, what kind of illustrations are your strong suits? Is it like specifically children's books or graphic novels? Do you do cover design? Kind of what is your guys' strong suits? What do you feel more comfortable doing? Yeah, okay.
So I know my style tends to be people say it's a mix of Disney and anime. So I definitely like, I mean, that's what I enjoy drawing is a lot of cartoony stuff.
Okay.
So cover design, I'm still kind of working on. I guess I'm working on how to blend in all those elements into one cohesive drawing, I guess.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Christina, what about you?
So I play around with different styles. I think right now I'm going through a phase where my biggest influence is Peter H. Reynolds, who wrote the Create Trilogy series. If you're familiar with that, it's the Dot and BU and Word Collector. He's both author and illustrator for his whole series of children's books, and I just think they're so whimsical and charming and fun that and they're a vast break from what I usually paint. So I'm really inspired by those right now.
Nice. Okay.
And I never heard of him until you mentioned him the other day on Saturday, because they had the book launch of all book launches on Saturday, because they launched all of Inkling's children's picture books on Saturday. And you mentioned him then, Christina. And I'm on his website now, actually, still, because you're right. Whimsical is a
So
great
cute.
word to describe him.
Just so cute. His style and everything, and all of his books have really great messages. And so I'm just overall inspired by him. So
does anybody else have any questions before I just hog the time? Because I can come up with questions all night, you guys. Like, you guys know me.
I got one.
Talking machine.
Okay. So when you do a drawing for a book, and it's for the interior of the book, do you do it in a large scale and then shrink it down? Or do you try to draw it already to scale for the book? Like, do you try to draw it in a 9x6 or 8x5 or something? Or do you just draw a larger picture and then use something like Photoshop or something to shrink it down? And does it lose definition when you do that?
So James, you're talking about digital doing, would that be?
No, I'm not talking
No?
about digital. I'm talking about if they actually draw the picture, do they just draw a large picture and then do something like copy it into a digital format and shrink it? Or do they try to draw the picture in the format that they need? Like, if I needed 9x6 pictures for a book, would you draw it in 9x6, or would you just draw a larger picture, then scan it and shrink it?
For me, it depends on the subject matter. If I like doing details a lot of the times, and so because I like doing details, I'll do it a little bit larger, but make sure that it's shrinkable. And it does tend to lose a little bit of the detail, but if you know that going in, it changes how you're gonna, sorry, I'm looking at James's little thumbnail on my thing, so I'm looking down. So if you know that going in, then it changes how you do your layout. Yeah, to me, it just helps. But if it's something that I want really a lot of emphasis on a character or something, or a certain scene, then I may just start with the actual size so that I know exactly what it's going to lay out with.
For Grant, he has to follow my lead because Grant is actually an eco artist. See the wise men, the manger, and the sunflowers. Those are all made out of recycled paper. So Grant's just used to tearing paper. He was forced to be an illustrator because they all knew Grant could draw, but Grant didn't want to draw. He wanted to tear paper. If you know about my son, Grant, he has autism. So his love is tearing paper. Used to be everybody's paper. Then we redirected behavior. So he tears paper. So when he was forced to do digital art, I would just draw what my imagination saw in my stories in my head. And I said, now, can you draw this? So I give him animals. Actually, they're animals that he creates, but then I draw them, and he'll draw something like this.
Wow. Wow.
So I just say, this is what I need. And they don't look, what I draw doesn't look anything like that. You know, the elephant does not look, the giraffe, forget it. He knows that's mom's giraffe, so I'll make it a giraffe. So that's how we do it. It's my imagination, and he brings it to life.
And that's your latest book, right? Is
Yes, this is
Grant and
Abigail.
the Jigsaw Giraffe.
Right, because this is the original giraffe that Grant created. And he doesn't put spots on it, he puts puzzle pieces. Although that is the symbol for autism, it really is Grant's artwork. In Grant's artwork, he peels puzzles to create. These are his actual originals.
Very good.
The peacock is all puzzles. So all of his artwork has puzzles in them. And that's all made from paper, no paint. And so, yeah, that's what I did. I took his story and I turned him into his giraffe. And all our books are about special needs animals or animals with challenges. In this case, she has childhood cancer. This book, I was challenged to write about the pandemic, and the animals are wondering where all their people friends are at. And this book is about dyslexia. And then our next book coming out is about, this is just prototype cover. This is about autism with Dr. Temple Grandin. So all of our books are about special needs or challenges. And I just I take other people's stories, but they get royalties for their stories. So, you know,
I'll put, do you know how to go into the chat, Julie, and put your website there?
Grant does.
Okay, Grant, if you would go put your website, jigsawgrant.com is his website, and he's got lots of his artwork and stuff there. Christina, we have yours, right? Christina and Rosa, both of you put your websites in so we can look at your art as well as hear from you. So thank you for chiming in there, Julie. That was great information, and so if you guys can kind of be part of the panel, that would be wonderful.
I have a question.
Okay.
So I am coming out with my children's book in less than 2 weeks. And I have an illustrator, but to tell the truth, the illustrator was not familiar, if I can say this, with technical requirements. So I don't know. My first cover artist was a very professional guy, and I had no issues with him. But the latest guy, he didn't even know what bleed was. And so we've been trying to make up for things he didn't know as an illustrator. So I guess my question is two. First of all, what can you expect your illustrator to know in terms of the technical requirements for things like covers? And secondly, can you talk about bleed a little bit and what it is and what you need to have?
Who wants to answer that one? Christina, can you do that one?
Sorry, I'm having some technical difficulties over here. Can you give me like 1 second? That's why I'm muting it, because I don't want y'all to hear me cussing at my computer.
Okay. Okay.
Give me 2 seconds.
Well,
Andy, I can talk about that.
Okay.
Julie, I would assume, but of course, you know what happens when you assume. But your artist, if they, like, say for example, you tell them you're making an 8x10 book, they should know that there's going to be bleed. And you know, if they did their artwork digitally, there may be a way to just kind of easily stretch it. And the other thing you can do is extend into that bleed area with solid colors. So, you know, it kind of depends on what sort of medium they're working in. Do you know if they're working in like Illustrator or Photoshop or something?
I really don't know. You're talking to the wrong person, which is why we've been having so much difficulty. But yeah, we talked about having a white border around the illustration, but that is so much less wonderful looking than my first cover would have been, and my cover was. And the thing about extending, if it's digital, my technical guy says this is not gonna work. So I can't, I really don't know, except I know that I didn't, in the requirements for the illustrator, specify such things as you need bleed, and it's costing me a lot of trouble.
It doesn't, they don't call it bleed on the printers. The printers call it borderless. So I had mine printed and they forgot to put borderless. And so you had the white border, but we call it bleed. But in the printers, because I use Epson printers, they call them borderless paper, and it'll get it right to the edge. I can print right to the edge with an Epson workboard.
Yeah, but Julie, are you having it published through like Ingram or Amazon or
No.
something?
No, I actually haven't.
Oh,
had
sorry,
time.
Julie. Sorry, I
Oh.
mean Julie Connor. Sorry.
Yes,
Anthony Julie.
yes, and they do, they do require
Yeah.
bleed, so.
Yeah,
If you can't figure it out, Julie, give me a holler tomorrow.
Well, thank you, but I think I think my technical guy has come up with some kind of
Okay.
solution, because we have to go forward.
Athena was gonna make a comment too. Athena, what were you gonna say, sweetie? You're still muted and we still
No.
can't, oh, there you are.
I was going to say the difference is also you have to realize that some illustrators are not book cover designers, and that is where the mistake comes in. Just because I know how to draw beautifully doesn't mean I understand how to make a book cover, and you need to find that out from the illustrator. Do you know how to create a book cover for me? And that is, you have to be careful who you find, because some people don't know. A picture is a picture. It's not. A book cover is not the same as a picture.
Right.
So you have to find that out.
Yeah, well, I found out this time around, because again, my first guy knew it all, and
that
there was
out
no
the hard way,
problem. He
so.
just knew it. That's what he does. He does covers. The second guy is an illustrator, not a cover artist. And he didn't know it either for illustrations or for covers, neither one. So it's been a trial. I mean, he produced the illustrations, but they're not what we needed for the book. Or not in the format we needed.
That's the key, the format.
Diane, I'm sorry, what did you say?
I said that's the key, that's the format. You have to know all these technical terms, the proper type of inking, how many layers of the colors, etc., and how it's going to work when it comes to the printing. When I illustrated, and I don't illustrate all my books, but when I illustrate, I do it with silk painting or I'll do acrylic on canvas. And I do it at 8x10 style in order to answer what James was talking about. And then I do a high definition photo and JPEG it. And that way I know for sure it's the exact size that I need it to transfer. And I do all my printing through Ingram. And Ingram sends you the exact design and the layout, numbers and qualifications for any of their printing. So that makes it a little bit easier. I don't know if that helps James, because I thought James was kind of getting to that question, was what does it take to have the pictures the right size and format, is what I think he was getting to Christina. He went away, so I'm not sure.
I'm still here.
Did that answer your question in a way? Because wasn't that what you were going for?
Sort of, because in one of our books, in Haley's book, she had a map. We had a map done, and I believe they did it on ink on paper, and then they digitalized it and sent it to us, and then we put it into the book. So I just wanted to know what their process was when someone gives them a artwork to do for a book. Do they actually hand draw it? Do they do it on computer? If you hand draw it, are you comfortable doing it in just one particular size? And then, when you digitalize it, then you can shrink it or expand it, whatever that you do. As for Julie, when you get your book cover, you should send them, because you're doing it through Ingram. They send you a template for them to do. Send them that template so that he can work on the book cover in that template, because that template will have all the cut marks and the bleed lines, and it tells you exactly how the image has to fit. And that should make it easier for them to do the picture, because when they do the picture, they can then lay it out on that template.
We are
And if
way
you have any
past that
trouble, we
point,
can help you.
James. We are way past that point, and the guy is overseas, and his English is not that great. And again, I expect someone who puts themselves out as a professional illustrator is going to know the technical requirements for books. I mean, and he's already illustrated several books. I expected he would know this stuff, and he doesn't. So,
Okay. See, the thing
I don't
is, he
wanna-
could have illustrated the books, but he didn't have to be the person who actually put that cover together.
Lay it
He
out.
could have
I
done
was-
the picture for it, taken that, and then put it in, and then someone else could have taken that and put it into a book cover.
Well, that's what my technical guy is doing, but it's not as easy as you're making out. I mean, he's struggled with it, and we've struggled with it. We went through
Well,
all the options. Put a
I struggled
white
with it
border
at the beginning.
around it, and stretch it out somehow.
Well, Julie, I think one of the things that I'm learning, at least, and maybe everyone is from what you're saying, is, knowing up front what they know. And honestly, I would have been right where you are, because I would have had no idea. I would thought if you were an illustrator, you knew about the final version of the illustration, not just drawing the picture. But and especially with a cover designer, you have to make sure I've had people tell me they could do they knew they had done cover designs, but when they sent it to me, they didn't allow for the spine. And I'm like, you have to know how many pages and all of that before you can do the spine. So there's a lot to learn in this whole publishing world that we live in. And we've actually never talked about this side of it before. It's always been the interior that we've talked about. But I think this is a great thing to get to the illustrations, because every book has to have a book cover. I mean, that's just, you have to have that. So how do you find that, and how do you find the right person, and how do you know ahead of time? What are some questions to ask? I think that would be a good thing to know. It's how would you know if they understood what bleed is? Because in my mind, I kind of know what that means, but I wouldn't know what it means enough. Like when we upload a book to Kindle for one of our clients, or to Ingram, we just trust that what was given to us, the cover design and the interior, and it's formatted, and we trust that that's ready to be put on, online. So, Jeremy.
So yeah, as also an illustrator, what I do, because a lot of clients don't know this stuff, they just don't, and there's a lot of illustrators that also do not know this stuff. So I think for everybody on this call, a really important thing to ask is, can you tell me what your process is? And give me all the details of every step of your process, because when they lay that out, you're going to see right there if they know exactly what they're talking about, because they're going to talk about things like bleed. They're going to talk about the formatting. They're going to talk about getting the specifications from whatever publisher that you're using and using those templates. They're going to talk about that stuff if they know what they're doing in their process. So just ask them what their process is, and they're going to lay it out. If they just start BSing in their process, then you know that they may not know some stuff, or ask for some of their previous work. And then I do this. So as an illustrator, because a lot of clients don't ask this stuff, I lay it out for them. Say, hey, this is what my process looks like from A to Z, so that they're clear in their heads what this is going to look like, and how this is going to, what the end result is going to be, what the end product is going to be.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I mean,
Well,
maybe.
again, I don't want to, I'm not being defensive. I'm just telling you what I did. I looked online for his previously illustrated books, and they were fine.
Yeah.
I don't know what the authors of those books did to make the
So
everything fine.
We
but-
had a layout person.
Yeah, they had a layout person likely. And it's great if you have an illustrator who is also a layout person on top of it. There are, many of us are. It's just, that's a good question to ask though when you're asking, do you know layout? Can you do layout?
Yeah. So I think we should ask like Christina and Rosa what their process is. So like, what are the common questions that you get asked, before being chosen to do illustrations and things like that? What are the common questions that you either ask the author or they ask you? So who wants to go first? Don't make me pick. Don't make me pick. Okay, well.
So I mean, they didn't. So my first draw, they didn't ask me any of those questions. And I'll be honest, for Natrix, because I got hired on to do his second book, when he told me about having to do the cover and stuff, he sent me the template, and I went ahead and I looked up how to do all of that.
Yeah, so you went
was
the extra mile and did all that. So how many projects have you illustrated on? I guess that's a poor way of.
So I've done Landon's. So Landon's, 2 early readers for Natrix, plus the second book, and now the third, so 5.
Yeah.
And then my own book, so I guess 6.
Yeah.
So your graphic novels are how different is that from the illustration, the children's book, illustrated children's book?
So those the graphic novels I did on so Landon's was done in a sketchbook, a 9x12 sketchbook. I always leave borders around all my panels because I know that they're going to get stitched into, they're going to get scanned in and then placed together. And it's the same thing when I'm using the comic book board. I know that there's a border around it, and then it has where the bleed is on that too. So I have been making comic book panels since I've been in high school. So I kind of already automatically know all about all of that. When I was doing the cover, I was also surprised to see the bleed part, because I didn't know what the process was for making a cover until I went and looked up all of that.
Right. So what are some of the resources, I guess, that you wish authors knew going in when they were talking to you to see if you want to do the illustrations, that they would provide for you, so that way you wouldn't have to go and do all the research and stuff that you're having to do?
Well, what Jeremy and Julie have been saying, if you can tell me what publisher, or not publisher, what Ingram or Amazon, which company you're going to use to print, I can look up the template and just let me know how many pages, because I know that it'll also tell you how big the spine needs to be and stuff. I'm fine with all that. And then I've always, I work best when I can communicate with the person almost on a daily basis until I get it right, basically.
Yeah.
I think that you just said a word that is very important, and that's communication. Because as the author, whether you're the author, the publisher, or the illustrator, there's going to be sometimes you use a word that won't be understood or interpreted the same way by everybody.
Right.
And so, I found that out already just working with authors, where we had one author, David Bowles, who wanted me to take a book that was already on Kindle. He had the print book too, but the Kindle book, he wanted it taken down, and he wanted, somehow they had, when he did it the first time, the person left out a few pages. So he gave me the full-blown manuscript, and he wanted me to put it back up there. And honestly, it was a challenge, because that's when I learned that Amazon's criteria is not the same as Ingram's. So their whole, the numbers as far as the page size and the bleed and all that was not the same. And we had to go back and this was going back to find the person that did the illustrations, the person that did it to start with, and have them make some corrections. And that was not an easy thing to do. So yeah. So it's a lot of different things, a lot of different words, a lot of words that are interpreted differently by different people. And so communication, and in your case, Julie Connor, communication would be even more challenging because your person's not in the United States. So when you get and a lot of people are getting illustrators from other countries. Lydia, where's your illustrator? Where is he?
He's in the United States. And,
oh, he is. Okay.
Yeah. Now CJ's illustrator, Waleed, I can't remember his last name, but anyway, Waleed's from the Middle East. He's from Syria, I think. But they seem to figure out a way to communicate with each other pretty well. So,
Is it challenging because of the language differences or anything?
I think with CJ and Waleed, it worked out pretty well. I think it's just kind of the luck of the draw. I know that Matthew, who did the sock book, his illustrator Svetlana is from the Ukraine. And so there were a couple of times they, he would try to explain something and she would send something. No, let's do it this way. And, you figure it out, but you're right. That communication is the key. Because you don't want to get too far down the road before you can go, whoa, wait a minute,
I think that's one thing that I've learned. And actually CJ talked about this in one of the previous programs, that she writes into her requirements that the person be in basically daily communication and be very responsive and meet certain marks that she sets. And I didn't do that. And I should have done that. Next time I'll know better.
It's always something to learn, because just now that you got that down, there'll be something different the next time, and you'll be all ready for the questions on that, and then it'll be different. And trust me, I was telling Amy that we've been getting this, one of our client, You Healing You book. The print book is not available yet because of some complications that we had in communication, because Amazon is communicating to the author. She had a lot going on, did not see that she got an email from them saying they need something. And we're here waiting for it to be approved, thinking they have everything they need. And only when Amy actually called them did we find out that they were waiting on some stuff from us. So, that's something we've never run into before. But there's a new thing to look at, is now make sure from the beginning that and we're not publishers. We just were helping her put her book on Amazon. So so we run into different new. It's always an adventure and always a learning, some learning in there. So Christina, did you want to add anything to the last question?
I do. And let me apologize that I was so distracted. Sorry for the distraction.
Everything is good.
So I just wanted to address what Julie was saying about Julie Connor, because you were saying that, you had worked with several different illustrators, and you would assume a professional would know these specs. And I totally agree with you. I would have too. Coming up from the side of the author, where I've seen my husband be in your shoes, where he's trying to contract an illustrator for his cover or for anything else, and seeing the headaches with that. I'm cringing, because I'm like, oh my gosh, how did y'all not just talk about this? And and he feels like he totally did. He's like, well, I should just be able to hire, and here's what this is. And I agree. But then on the flip side of that, now that I have been the illustrator that my husband contracted, I can say, no, it's not quite that simple. And I love my husband, but even having a background where I was the editor for 2 literary magazines, and, small potatoes, not anything big, but still I'm familiar with formatting and things like that, trying to communicate with my better half about what he wants. It was like we were speaking 2 different languages, and it was crazy trying to, so it's like the running gag with us that Sandy even mentioned it. It's kind of the running gag with us that I didn't know how to draw a dragon before. No, I just didn't know how to draw the dragon that my husband had in his mind.
Yes.
Because he's just, for a writer, he's not, it's a whole different thing. So I will say that
he did talk about that on Author Talk this morning. I don't know if you went back and to listen to what he had to say or not, but he did talk about
he was very nice though. We asked.
Oh no, yeah, it was nothing.
What was it? We asked if you guys had conflict working together, and he put it very nicely, as if he thoroughly enjoyed working with you, and you guys didn't have any conflicts at all.
We didn't have major conflict. It was more just, potatoes. You know, I would draw this awesome, that I would think with this magnificent dragon for a children's book because I have a background in education. So to me, I'm not going to go in there and draw a Game of Thrones dragon for a little kid's book that's for 7-year-olds. I'm just not. But for my husband, who that was what drew him to dragons when he was 7 and 8 years old, he's like, why are you giving me this little Kate Spade looking cutesy Snoopy thing? Like, no. And so that's the art part of it. But getting back to what Miss Connor was saying, like for the formatting, even with some experience in formatting, I still felt like I was grasping for straws. And the first thing that I did, like with Dragadillo in particular, since that's what I'm here with, we had a really sweet publisher in Inklings that I asked them at the beginning, like, hey, what format do you want this in? And I was given carte blanche. You can use any medium you want. You can use any size you want. We have a formatter. And so I was like, well, okay. So
Nice.
yeah. So, I mean, it was really, it was kind of crazy. So depending on if I did a drawing in like Copic markers and used like comic book layout, you know, then I could go for a 9x12, or if I knew it was going to be a double page spread, depending on what text my husband had for something. If it was going to be a double page spread, then I could use a landscape. I mean, I had a lot of freedom. Looking back now, I will say that even now, as I talk to a couple of authors and what their expectations are, I'm kind of limiting or asking if I can limit it to like an 8x10 or an 8.5x11 drawing, because I know that's going to format to most pages a little bit more easily, because that's just the natural way of it. Maybe if they
So
want
much to learn. Oh my gosh, there is so. You just think if you draw, which I don't draw, but you would think if you could, that's all you needed to know. But there's just so much to know, and which I know a lot of authors, you know, they think when they finish their book, finish writing the manuscript, that they're done.
Yep.
But that's just really the beginning of the whole process. So I love that. I love all the things that we learning here. And one of the reasons we have this group, and we're going to be doing more and more and more with this group starting in 2021, as we grow the group. So any other questions for we got about 10 minutes left. So any other questions for our illustrators? Diane.
So have you been in situations where you don't get hired because maybe the author is like, oh my gosh, that is not what I was looking for? And so if that has happened, are there questions that you wish we authors would ask you guys so that you don't waste your time and not have the picture that the author has in their mind of their character? Does that make sense at all?
It does. It does for me, because I love having, you know, like that's like having a checklist of questions to ask. And I can tell you that I have a checklist, not for illustrators, but I have a checklist for self-published author to how to self-publish all the things, because otherwise you can get to the end of, and we're just here helping. We're not doing it, we're helping. But if they don't know how to get the ISBN number, and I don't know that, okay, we should have already gotten the ISBN number, you know, it's a whole step by step. And I have to say, I'm very thankful to Mike Coas, because he has a book called 12 Steps or 14 Steps to Self-Publish a Book. And I have those steps in a checklist. So we make sure when we get to Ingram or Amazon, we've done everything we were supposed to do for that. So I think that's a great idea, Diane. And Christina, and you and Rosa, do you have any kind of, like, if somebody comes to you and says, I want you to illustrate my book, or Rosa, in your case, even if they come to you and say, you know, I'm thinking about doing a graphic novel, do you have any kind of list of questions that you ask, or things that you suggest to them before they get started?
The first thing that I do every time is show them my Instagram and tell them this is the style I draw. And so, because I mean, I don't want them to be thinking that they're going to get like a Jim Lee type of
Well,
artist,
that-
or
that
like
is a
a
great thing.
someone more realistic.
Yes, that's a
Yeah.
great thing to show them in some of your work. So
Yeah.
obviously, that's a great thing. So Christina, what about you?
I was gonna say the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like here's what I have. This is my normal. For me, medium is a big thing because Rosa has an advantage over me because one, she has several. One, she's more experienced and she does digital, and I don't. I'm not a digital artist yet. I'm working on it. So give me some time and I'll start doing that. But right now I'm yeah, medium would be the big thing because if you want something that's ultra realistic looking, you're probably not going to want a watercolor artist to do your work. And if you do, you're going to be paying a whole lot for that person because it's so much extra.
You know, I'm glad you said that because in my experience, so I worked with children's book authors for 20 years. I started in 2002, and all of my clients for the first several years were children's book authors. And that's back before you just didn't put them as a ebook or anything like that. Most of them were printed in China because it was a lot cheaper to print in China. So there was a lot of work that went on with a children's book. But one of the things I found out from the illustrations was, and from the illustrators, that there were some people that were very good, some illustrators that were very good at details on a person's face or the person, the characters. And there were some that just kind of were, the characters were a lot more abstract than others. And I learned from the beginning to say, okay, to the author, how do you picture your person? If you're picturing a little girl looking up, surprised, you got to have an artist that does that. And so, so that's great that we're having this discussion tonight because I had forgotten about all the questions I used to ask before when we first be introduced to an illustrator. And Julie, you and Grant, I was wondering, so I want you to chime in on all this too, is like, do you have, because I'm on your website, jigsawgrant.com, and I'm looking at the covers and they're mostly animals. Do you have any people in the books at all or just animals?
Actually, there's a few. We have Mr. Becker, the zookeeper, and upcoming in our newest book, we have Temple Brendan.
Ah, okay.
A well-known celebrity in the autism community. She has an HBO movie after herself as well. So, and then we have the mayor.
Yes, the mayor. That was just in that one.
But mostly animals. That's
Yes.
what Grant prefers.
Very good. Okay, so 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 you're the artist, right, Grant?
Yes. Artist
So-
and illustrator.
So do you prefer, if you were doing the drawing, the actual drawing, do you prefer to do animals or people?
It's I like working with animals more because I feel more connected with them. But I will draw people.
Okay.
Just that working with animals are easy.
Looking, so you have a lot of artwork besides the books. You have a lot of other artwork, and it's beautiful too. So you guys go to his website. It's jigsawgrant.com. He's got some great stuff on there, and so we're going to be getting to know them even more because they're planning to join the group in January. So actually, Julie was like, "I'll just go ahead and join today." I'm like, "No, it's free in December. I want you to come."
I have a lot of questions.
We have answers. We have a ton of answers. Everyone here.
And the answers that Amy and I don't have, we have lots of resources in here. So we have James Hill. You can see James is a publisher, Rock Hill Publishing. He and Athena have a publishing company. Julie Connor has a publishing company, and she publishes other people's books. Lydia has, she with her sister have Texas Sisters Press. Red is a publisher like Amy and I are. He helps get them on Amazon. So he's much more experienced at that kind of stuff than we are. So so we consider them resources for everything we do. Did I? And Fernanda is not on tonight. She's been sick all day with a migraine, so she's not on, but she is the publisher for Christina and her husband Julian's book called Dragadillo. And for Rosa's, and Rosa does a lot of the work for, Rosa is her illustrator, and especially in her graphic novel, Landon's Library. So, I mean, I think you could, if you look around at all the experience and all the things that each one of us do, it's just amazing, and it is a collective of resources. So I am very excited. I've seen Julie Connor go from coming into the nonfiction authors, just asking questions, to now at the end of 1 year, she's got her book. She's and all that was she published it, and then she's got her audio book, and now she's got her children's book is coming out. What else have you done this year, Julie? Because you've done, it seems like you've done more than 3.
I've got short stories and 2 anthologies.
Oh, and that's another thing that all of you will have the opportunity for. Lydia and CJ, the Texas Sisters Press, did an anthology the beginning of December with Christmas stories. So everyone has an opportunity to participate. And we will have other anthologies and things we'll be doing, like our 12 Days of Christmas. That's our holiday gift guide, is what we're calling it. But I do want to stop just a second and say, I see we have a couple of other people that I'm not familiar with. So Dave Gotham, can you introduce, is it Gorham? I'm sorry. Can you introduce yourself?
Well, hi, everybody. I am a wannabe author. I haven't written anything in terms of a book or what I really want to write in the future. I've been a writer. I'm a meteorologist by profession, and I did a lot of science writing. I did all the science writing and editing for the company, the weather company that I used to work for. And now that I'm retired, I want to start writing other things. And so a friend of mine, a good friend, Gene Nunnally, recommended I join this group tonight. So I'm being introduced to all of you, not quite sure what I was getting into, but it looks like I'm in a good spot. Eventually, when I write my book, I've got a few ideas for maybe books, plural. They'd be in that children's category. And Jean knows I'll be looking for an illustrator. And so she thought this would be a good time for me to poke my head in the window and say hi.
Well, that's great. So I want all of you, if you're not on our email list, if you can put your email address in the chat, so Amy can get it and add you to our list, because we send an email out and we're going to be starting tomorrow sending one out to this group every day to remind you and give you the link for our Facebook Lives that we'll be doing, our 12 Days of Christmas Facebook Live. And I'm hoping we can figure out how to get the music for 12 Days of Christmas and play that to start with, but that would be like a technical thing that I don't know how to do. And so Amy is our technical person for the group, for the two of us. So anyway, Dave, thank you very much for being here. Tell Jean, thanks for recommending this group to you. And so I'm going to have one more person introduce themselves, and then I'm going to talk about this month. So Mike.
You're talking
Mike
about
Barlow.
Yeah, okay. Lydia and I have met several times, and you and I have met.
I
Probably,
knew I had met you, and I recognize your name. So yes.
yeah. And Lydia and I first met, I think, in Houston, one of the marketing events, and later on in Dallas. And I think I met you, Sandy, in
I was at both
Dallas.
of those. I was at the Houston one too. So yes, I was at Houston and Dallas. So yes.
And I've been one of the reasons I joined tonight. I watched CJ and Lydia do some stuff with you guys. I think I watched it on Facebook after the fact. And then Rox Berkey and I had a discussion about doing things on video, and then she suggested I watch you guys a little more closely. So I've been writing for probably, well, let's see, since 2017 in fiction and 2012 in nonfiction. Science fiction on the one hand, and I do leadership development as part of my business on the other hand. So I'm interested. So I wanted to sit in tonight and listen, say hi to a few folks that I already knew, and see how it plays out.
Well, Lydia says you've been stalking us, and so we like stalking. So thank you both, Dave and Mike. I recognize that that you were not normally in the group, and so I wanted to give you a chance to introduce yourself. Because Amy, do you want to talk about what we're doing in the month of December for the group?
Sure. So besides doing the 12-day giveaway that we're doing, the month of December is free. So this would be a great time if you want to be an affiliate and recommend it to someone that you think this would help, because in January, it's not going to be free. It's just free for the month of December, but it'll help. You know, you can get your affiliate points and stuff like that. I don't really know what else, Sandy, you want me to talk about.
So what do they need to do to sign up to be an affiliate?
Oh, okay. Sorry, my bad. I forgot. Okay. So to be an affiliate, the link is in the email that I sent you, but I will also do one better for you guys, and I will put it in the chat. I can't multitask and talk and think.
That's okay. Okay. So
put it in the chat. And so you want to sign up. It's going to make you like say how you want to be paid and stuff like that. So you have to kind of go through and create that account. Now the link that it's going to give you is on the account. It'll say, you know, show me my link. And that's the link that you want to use when you're referring people to make sure that you get paid. So it's all set up for the membership. That's the thing, you know, that you guys are affiliate of. So you can sign up and do everything. I don't have access to your link. So you have to remember, like save your link somewhere or know how to come back to it, which I can help you get back to the page. I just don't have access to, you know, send you your link on a dime really quickly. It would take me a while to do that. But that's pretty much how it'll be. So let me put the link in the chat for everybody. And then if you have questions, I'll also put my email in there because you can call me, I can walk you through it, all kinds of stuff. So
now, does everybody know how to save the chat?
No, but more importantly, I don't know what an affiliate is.
And I'm gonna that was my next thing to ask. Who said that?
Mike Farlow.
Oh, Mike. Okay, so Mike, hold on. I'm going to get to that in just 1 second. But right now, if you go click on the chat, which is the little conversation kind of thing at the bottom, it will open up the chat window. And that's where you go to type in your messages and anything like that. And then while you're there, while it's open, if you go to the bottom and go over and look, and there's the infamous 3 dots. You know, anytime you see 3 dots, you know, there's something on the other side of it. So if you click that, the very first line at the top says save chat. So if that means that when we get out of here, you will have this little thing. On mine, I have this little window that opens up and it has the chat window. So that way you will have everybody's websites. You'll have the email addresses. I see Mike's, I see Dave's. Mike, I don't see yours. So if you could put your name and email address in the chat, please, and we can add you to our email list. And this is not adding you to the Perceptive PR email list of names. This is for this group. So affiliate means that once you sign up and you get the link and this will be with Kartra, and the Kartra is going to give you a link that will be unique to you. So Diane, you need to know this because you're recommending all these people and you need to have the affiliate set up so you'll start getting paid. So if you have an affiliate link, that means when Diane, who told me about Julie, when she invited Julie, then she gives her this link and says when it's time to sign up, which that means you got plenty of time to do it. You have a whole month. So Diane will send an invitation to Julie and Grant, and they will sign up using that link, which means the system magically attributes them to Diane. And that means that Diane gets when they pay, and if they sign up and start paying, Diane gets a percentage of it. And I think it's 30%. And that's for as long as Julie and Grant are members. So forever, you'll get paid once a month or once every time they pay, you'll get a percentage. And that means that then Julie and Grant can invite people and Mike and Dave, I'm just saying the new people. So, and Joel Ravichandran. So I have to say, Joel, you just look just as good as your brother. So
Thank you.
I'm teasing. I'm teasing. I always tell Josh, I always tell Amy, she's got such a hot husband. So, so Joel, if you want to sign up and you want to invite people, use that link. So all of you, and what we'll do next, what we'll do on Friday. So is anybody not available to make it on Friday at noon from 11:30 to 12:30? We have a mastermind. And one of the things we'll do in the mastermind, Amy, if you could be ready just to show that, share your screen and show exactly how that works. So we have a membership and we need to talk between now and then if we're going to do it in Kartra. So, you'll get an email if you put your email in. So I see Mike has his in now, and Dave and Christina and Rosa, we would love to have you guys participate. If you're interested, put your email address in. Julie, I see you've got your email address in there, which I had yours, but good. So all of you will get an email on Friday about 10:30-ish. And that will give you the link that you joined with tonight. So, and we'll talk about affiliates. If you want to practice between now and then, Amy has put the link to go get your affiliate, to put in your information. And if you have all that in before Friday, that means we can just go right into exactly how to do each part of it. I'll kind of show you through an affiliate program. We're going to be providing you with what is called in the industry swipe copy, which means we're going to give you copy that you can swipe, and we're going to give you permission to steal it. So, and what we'll do is give you, here's an email, here's a suggestion for an email to send to your friends that you think might be interested in this. And here's a suggestion for something you could put in your newsletter if you want to. And this is one product. This is the membership. So it is a product and you can get paid on it. However, we have other things that we will be selling, especially into next year, and that's going to be some training courses. And anytime we have a new course or a new product of any kind, then all you have to do is use your link, your unique link, to invite somebody and tell them to click on your link, and then you'll automatically get paid. And that happens without us having to go in and make sure it happens. It's an automated thing. So we'll talk more about affiliates. We're out of time and I don't want to keep anybody too late, but we'll talk more about that on Friday. We'll go over the whole affiliate program, how it's going to work. We'll help you get signed up and we'll be ready to just kick some booty in January. So thank you all. Thank you, Christina and Rosa. Great information. We loved having you. And Christina, you and Julian, well, both of you, we'd love to have you join this group if you're interested, and we can send you information on it, or you can get it from Fernanda, either way. So thank you both very much. And Christina, it has been so great to get to meet you and Julian. Rosa, I had met before at an event where we had booths and all of that, but it was great to get to meet you guys. So Joel, nice to meet you. Thank you. Congratulations on writing a book.
Thank
And
you.
we'll see all of you guys on Friday. Have a great rest of the week.
Hey.
Yeah.
Bye.